So last time we looked at the political context within which Confucianism developed, at the man Kongfuzi, and at the textual classics that he canonized as the five classics of Confucianism. We closed on the assertion that the primary goal, the central concern of this tradition, is social harmony. Today we'll turn to some of the tradition's most important doctrinal claims and ritual prescriptions. Now, the central motivating of the claims of this tradition are these. The key to all meaning, the meaning of all things, could be found in human relationships, which makes this a humanist tradition, and we can get better at being good, which makes this an optimistic tradition. They see perfectibility as possible. But how do we get better? Now, we get better through education. Remember that this is the school of the scholars, and in Taiwan, Confucius's birthday is celebrated as Teachers' Day. But it isn't only scholars, it isn't only those of us fortunate and privileged enough to participate in higher education who can get better, who can learn. For Confucius, we're all learners. And while we should be very grateful of our own very privileged position in the world of higher education and really take this seriously, and remember that to be a student, you remember this? To be a student is to be one obligated, it's obligation, to feel zealous. So if you're not excited about it, if you're not feeling like you're enthused by the fact of education, then you're not a student. You are a butt in a seat, and it's a very expensive seat. So I know that you're all enthusiastic, I'm enthusiastic, and that's what keeps us being students. For Confucius, we are all learners, and being enthusiastic there is just as important as it is in higher education. But learning isn't always based on innovation. In some ways, Confucianism is a conservative doctrine. It insists upon, it requires the tether of tradition. It resists any movement that would sever our connection to the past because the past is considered part of one's extended community, part of what coheres people. If you're interested in this train of thought, in this idea, you might take a look at the contemporary scholar Danielle Herveau-Laguerre, who wrote a book called Religion, that's an E, Religion as a Chain of Memory, and it really talks about the way in which religion is exactly this, maintaining a connection to the past. The point for Confucius is that your grandparents may no longer be living, but their influence on you is nonetheless present. You owe to them a place at the table. Our past makes us what we are, for better or for worse, and our own lives will in turn have a hand in shaping the lives of future generations. That recognition is central. The sense of connection through time is a significant part of the shared moral horizon within the Confucian worldview. You cannot abdicate your responsibility to society here. There's no escape from the significance of community, not through retreat, not even through death. Remember that social cohesion is what is privileged here above all else, and that includes the past, the future. So Confucianism is conservative in its way, but it's also optimistic. Each person can become fully human, but can only do so within community. Virtue needs a neighbor. We become human by becoming social, or in the words of the contemporary Confucian scholar Tu Weiming, who's quoted here, self-transformation is a communal act. A central insight for this tradition is that self-cultivation and social harmony are not at odds. And sometimes I think in our contemporary culture we think they are. Like, in order to get into my self-cultivation, I have to retreat for some time. I have to go to the mountain. I have to go to the meditation space. I have to go away from society. And that is not the case for this tradition. These two things, social harmony and self-cultivation, they are not at odds. They work together. The social focus here does not by any means diminish the individual's ability to become a junzi, an exemplary person. Now, junzi, this is the ideal. The word meant high birth or nobility. Confucius performed what he believed to be a rectification of names, a sort of fixing of names on this ideal, and we'll return in a moment to this rectification of names idea. He redefined it in terms of behavior. He transformed what had been a hierarchy of birth, you're sort of born into the gentry or you're not, into a hierarchy of merit, where you could become a full person, no matter what your bloodline, your pedigree is. Now, remember that the Buddha did something of the same thing? Transformed a hierarchy of birth into a hierarchy of merit? So anyway, the exemplary person, the cultivated person, it's often translated as the gentleman, but not here because we're going to work from the assertion that this degree of moral accomplishment is not gender limited. The junzi, this is a person of inner sagehood and outer nobility. It's an openly available goal, and it's a goal that can be attained through, again, education. We can improve ourselves and our society by studying ancient classics, those repositories of human wisdom throughout time by emulating the sages, the ones who have done it well, by learning etiquette and proper rituals, by learning how to behave, and by practicing the virtues. We can learn. We are learners, and learning, we become better humans. And the purpose of education, it's worth noting here, is not to make you practically useful. It's not to make you a better accountant or better at making widgets or a better this or a better that. The purpose of education is to empower students to transform themselves into complete human beings, into people who understand and embody the virtues, no matter what they do. People who think about the right thing to do, what that is, and who really try to do it in whatever realm of productive life you choose to lead. We can learn, but we must do so in relationship with others. And this is where the 5 relationships come in. They are central. They're the scaffolding upon which we build our morally sound social selves, according to Confucius. The parent and child relationship is foundational because this is where one first learns to be something other than self-involved. And all the other relationships develop from there. Now, all of these are about mutual obligation in a hierarchical frame. Individuality, in our sense of the word, it has no place here. And we can think about this. We might need to think about this as a culture. We are a culture that's ostensibly egalitarian, democratic, individualistic. Self-determination is central to our cultural ideal. But in the words of John Donne, I don't know if you guys know this guy, 17th century English poet, and then again after him Hemingway, and then after him again Metallica. No man is an island entire of itself. Every man is a piece of the continent, a part of the main. Any man's death diminishes me because I'm involved in mankind. Therefore never send to know for whom the bell tolls. It tolls for thee. And bells rang in John Donne's time to indicate funerals. So it's, don't ask who's that bell for, who died, right? Don't ask that, because you're all interconnected, intertwined. On this Confucian model, we cannot self-determine outside of a social context. We can't become who we are without recognizing who we are in relation to others. If I were to open this, this class and with a video that says, "Hey, I'm just another student. I'm a student here. We're all students, right? You tell me what you think about Confucianism, right? It's open." Would that do us any good, right? I would learn something about your feelings, about your previous knowledge, but I wouldn't teach you anything, and I wouldn't be a teacher, and so you wouldn't be able to be a student. You wouldn't be able to learn except through self-expression, right? And this relationship would fall apart. If I tell my daughters, "Hey, we're friends, that's what we are," then would I be able to be a parent? Confucius says no. I mean, in the best worlds, parents are friends to their children, but if they're not parents first, accepting the responsibility to care for, nurture, protect, and teach their children, then those children can't grow into strong, healthy people, learning respect and the importance of relationships. That relationship would fall apart. And we've all seen examples of this, where somebody abdicates their social duty, where the leader doesn't lead, where the parent doesn't parent. Nobody benefits from that. And we can learn to do this better. And maybe we always have to continue learning, always have more to learn. It's possible that humility is an inbuilt requirement here, that it goes hand in hand with a belief in perfectibility. Confucius himself was not a model of a fully realized human being. He was a model people could emulate, the model of a learner. He never claimed to have reached the state of perfection. In fact, he claimed the opposite, saying, "To serve my father as I would have my son serve me, to serve my ruler as I'd have my ministers serve me, to serve my older brother as I'd have my younger brother serve me, to treat my friends as I'd have them treat me." I have not been able to do that. Now, that was Confucius. So we learn and we get better at living up to our end of this mutual obligation in a hierarchical frame. Doing this, maintaining that frame, requires the rectification of names. Call it like it is, Confucius says. Don't spit in my face and tell me it's raining. Don't pretend to be a sister if you're supposed to be a mom. Don't abdicate your duty as a leader by saying you're just part of the team. Call it like it is and be what you are. And the idea here for Confucius is that if words are misused, then nothing can be on sure footing. So once more, I've pulled an image out of context to illustrate this. This Magritte painting was considered revolutionary in its own early 20th century art world for making much the same claim that Confucius made some 2,000 years before. "This is not a pipe," is what the caption reads. And people asked Magritte, they said, "What are you doing? You just trying to mess with me, right? Why are you doing this?" And he said, "No, I'm not messing with you. This is not a pipe. I can't pack it and smoke it. And all I can do is look at it, and I don't just look at my pipe, right?" And his point here, before the first household television was introduced, mind you, was that images were beginning to corrupt our sense of reality. We're in this way, as the title of the image shows, treacherous. Let's call it like it is. Virtual reality is not reality, except virtually. You can't eat a virtual pear. And let's not forget the difference. This is what Magritte's getting at, and it's what Confucius was getting at too. Now this sculpture, this is a sculpture by contemporary artist Zhang Huan, and is in context in that it represents Confucius. This is what the artist said about why he kept making sculptures of Confucius, and he's made a whole series of them. He said, faced with rapid economic and societal changes and energy and climate challenges, how can we achieve sustainable development? What responsibilities come along with China's rise in international importance? Where is the sense of spiritual belonging for contemporary Chinese? Now, for Zhuang Han, these questions are inextricably bound. Like Confucius during the Warring States period, he is politically concerned in uncertain times, and he's turning to Confucius for direction. Economy, energy, education, it's all relevant here. For the Confucian worldview, the sacred is always hidden in plain sight in the everyday, profane world of human interaction. The everyday world is profoundly spiritual in this tradition. The focus is on human flourishing, and in the last two slides that we'll look at, for Confucius, this is how we bring that out in our lives. These are the two main virtues, Ren, and the next one we'll look at is Li. Ren is human-heartedness, the inclusion of a second person in one's plans. The character itself points to that. This is the root meaning human, and this is two. So it speaks to this two-human thing, right? And this is the will to seek the good of others. It's the motivating force in moral life, and that's kind of at the core. And how you get there through Li. It's the means to Ren, or if you've already got Ren, it's Ren put into practice. Ritual or ethical propriety, good manners. Li is a way of making space for reverence in all acts, in all interactions. It's a way of treating the ordinary as sacred ceremony. This again involves reciprocity and mutuality. I hold the door open for you, you say thank you. In an interview, when an interviewer walks into the room, I stand, and she says please sit, but through this minor motion, we've exhibited mutual respect. And, we might think like, oh, this is just a bunch of manners, and it's like so Victorian, and it's trying to just cramp my style so much. And that's not the point for Confucius. Again, it's through these minor moments. There are everyday interactions. Whatever we do, if we do it with a sense of ritual propriety, of ethical propriety, of what we should be doing, then we infuse our otherwise mundane moments with this incredible sense of sacred potency. So that's what he's getting at. Next time, we're going to turn to the tradition of Taoism, which we'll see is in a lot of ways a complementary tradition to Confucianism. Like, it makes sense that these two came up together and that people find it very easy to be both. So until then, think about this rectification of names and how it might fit into your own life. Think about Ren, think about Li, and see if you can't infuse your regular mundane day-to-day life with a little bit of this sacred import.